There have been reports that Donald Trump is kind of in a panic about this war. One thing that really has been happening during the second term is that Trump is a taco. He does something and then pulls out of it. Trump thought it was going to be like Venezuela, but it turns out it might be a quagmire. He's claiming that the United States has won the war, is winning the war, it's almost over. He's also claiming that he needs help to win the war. Then when people said, no, we're not helping you, he says, oh, we don't need your help at all. Trying to pretend he has strength when he's actually weak. Now he's begging other countries to help him open the Strait of Hormuz. Throughout Trump's life, and especially during his political career, Trump's always been able to avoid consequences for his actions. Especially this is due to the fact that people who are supposed to be holding him accountable are either corrupt, compromised, incompetent, or refuse to hold people in power accountable. And yes, I'm talking about you, Merrick Garland. Thus, he's always been able to avoid consequences for his actions. In addition, he's also been able to get away with bankruptcy. This time, though, might be different. First of all, Iran is a separate entity, so it's not involved with our current corrupt system. Second of all, though, Trump thought this was going to be like 12-day war and what he did in Venezuela. Also was pushing the idea that it's going to be like just a wrap. I mean, Israel pushed for the war, and of course, neocons also pushed for the war. The problem, though, is Iran is a much more powerful nation than Iraq was. It's doing much better than even most cynics of U.S. ability thought. Iran is also attacking other Middle Eastern countries in their oil infrastructure, which is causing gas prices to rise considerably and oil prices to rise significantly. Back to that in a minute. Trump also pulled out the Iran deal in 2018, then attacked Iran during the middle of negotiations twice. So even if Trump decides to call for a ceasefire and stop attacking Iran, Iran's not going to trust the United States. So they're going to still feel they have no choice but to continue the war. So he potentially got himself into a quagmire in a forever war in Iran. Iran is also closest to Strait of Hormuz, which is going to cause oil prices to spike considerably, and it already has, to get worse. Some nations do not want to help the United States open the Strait of Hormuz. Overall, this is going to cause gas prices to spike considerably. I mean, even if the Iran war were to miraculously end now, but due to the damages this war has caused already, it's likely that gas prices are not going to recover until mid-2027 at least. It's also going to have a massive impact on the economy as well, due to the fact that oil is needed for transportation, and people are not going to be able to travel, which is going to have an impact on the economy. I mean, that's just one impact it's going to have in the economy. There will be more impacts as well. It's also going to cause shortages of plastic as well. A lot of things are made of oil. This is just scratching the surface. This could also affect the petrodollar as well. Trump has already alienated our allies due to his tariffs and his attacks on our allies. In addition, the Iran war could also pressure the Middle Eastern countries, the Gulf states, to drop the petrodollar. Nations might also consider dropping US dollar as well, because Trump's actions are practically hurting the economy, and they don't trust us anymore. These Republicans, Bush, to a lesser extent, but also especially Trump, have really, really destabilized the United States foreign relations. Trump's actions are alienating the United States from the rest of the world. It could lead the world to drop US dollar because they might not consider it stable anymore, especially after Trump appoints an ally to the Federal Reserve, which could destabilize the US economy. Yes, they'll drop the US dollar. All this will have devastating economic effects to the United States. Trump will practically destroy the economy, and he'll get blamed for it, but at the same time, he'll try to push for the SAFE Act or try to rig elections so he and his allies can reign in power. I guess his approval rating is going to probably drop into the mid to low 30s at one point. About the sort of the country will remain with him because they're in a cult and or bigoted or partisan, but the thing is, he's going to lose a lot of his supporters. A lot of people on the left say, oh, he'll be remembered like Bush, he'll be rehabilitated, but if he destroys the US dollar, he will not get rehabilitated. So this morning I mentioned how Trump might have screwed up when it came to the Iran war. And he put himself into a quagmire in a war that he might not be able to escape. Due to the fact that Iran might not end the war if Trump wants to, because they don't believe Trump anymore. They say he's going to go and attack them again. Now Iran might create a new nuclear weapon now, because they might say, oh, if you don't do it, the United States will continue, and Israel will continue to attack us. I also mentioned that this could destroy the economy by raising oil prices, destroying the petrodollar and also the US dollar as a world reserve currency. I mean, Trump literally fired all the experts who would have warned him not to do it, go into Iran. He fired the terrorism experts. Why? Because he didn't want to be babysat. Problem is, during his first term, as bad as Trump was during his first term, at least he had adults in the room. This time, the people who are in his administration are a bunch of banshees and yes men and all evangelical fundamentalists who will say yes to whatever Trump does and push him to do stuff like this. As a result, experts and people who have advised him not to do it were not there to tell him not to do it, and thus Trump attacked Iran. It's raising gas prices. It's destroying the economy. And people are blaming Trump now, of course. You know how bad is this going? The U.S. is actually running out of ammunition in Iran. It's also gone so bad that the U.S. has actually had to withdraw ships from East Asia to send it to the Middle East. And guess what's happened? China is now doing blockading Taiwan. By the way, North Korea also launched missiles towards South Korea as a show of might. Yeah, in short, the U.S. might have overreached. Even the low information voters that engage in these interviews. By the way, these are these are swing voters, and by the way, these are probably some of the dumbest people in history. Even they are saying that the United States might be stretching itself too thin. When you have these people, even them saying that the United States might be overreaching, then you've overreached. By the way, this is going to destroy the economy, and by the way, this is going to destroy the dollar, and by the way, people are not going to be able to afford to consume and distract themselves, well, because prices are going to be too high, you're going to have massive inflation. He's going to destroy the economy. That'd be one of the reasons why Trump and his friends are investing in AI surveillance, because they probably are concerned that this could cause unrest. Regardless, though, I think Trump put himself into a situation where he's not going to be able to get out of. I think his approval is going to start to drop. I think the average by the summer is going to probably be in the high 30s by the summer. Notice it on Real Clear Politics and Nate Silver's platform. I mean, it's gradually gone down over the course of the year, and I do think it's going to probably average is going to probably drop into the high 30s by the summer. Of course, there will be periods of it'll go up and down, but what I've noticed is a downward trend, and that's what's going to continue happening. So, allies, or at least former allies of the United States, have issued a statement condemning the Iranian closure of Strait of Hormuz. However, it still does not seem that they're committing to helping the U.S. reopen it. So of course, anything's possible, though they're still not really committing to it. Getting back to the Strait of Hormuz, regardless of what happens, oil prices are likely going to stay high for at least another year. Now, of course, there are ways that Trump can actually perhaps avoid catastrophic rises in oil prices. Obviously, there could be negotiations by third parties to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, but that's unlikely to resolve anything. Trump could also release the oil reserves, which could also help alleviate the prices in the United States. Or he could find ways to reduce tension, which he's not. But people like him are not. It's not in their nature to lower the tensions. The maggots, it's not in their nature to lower tensions, because the problem is jingoism is part of who they are. Given that Trump has a huge amount of support in the South, it's very, very important to understand that. After all, why else do you think they supported Bush? So obviously Trump does still have some tools in his toolbox to perhaps alleviate damage, but it's not going to completely affect the Thad. Regardless, as I said earlier, Trump's in a massive panic, and he's begging for help.